Welcome to the Living a Nordic Life podcast, where we explore a simpler, cosier and more intentional life the Nordic way. I'm Fiona McKenna, your Nordic living guide and founder of Living a Nordic Life, where I share all things Nordic living and show you that a Nordic life is the way to bring intentional calm and healthy habits into your own life, wherever you are in the world. Are you looking for ways to bring simplicity, coziness and calm into your life? Well, let me show you how. Visit the Living a Nordic Life website to explore how I can help you on your journey to simple, healthy and happy calm, the Nordic way. You can subscribe to the podcast right here. And if you want regular inspirational emails sent with love from Norway and straight to your inbox, don't forget to subscribe to the Living a Nordic Life newsletters. And so now let's dive into our episode. I want to talk to you today about everyday life here in the Nordics. I get a lot of questions about this, and especially if I post something on social media, in my Facebook group, or if I put something in my blog, perhaps as an article or a passing comment even. A lot of people want to know what everyday life is like here. And I have to say I have the same fascination myself with other cultures. I really want to see people doing ordinary things every day. And what do they do every day? What is ordinary there? Things like going to the supermarket or going shopping at a market. These things give us an idea of what life is like, don't they? And if I go to a new place myself, the market or the supermarket is always the first place I will go, because it gives us an idea of what people are buying, what they're spending, the cost of things, what's ordinary, something unusual, maybe it's in a language that you don't understand. But it's a little slice of everyday life, which is always fascinating to have a peek into people's lives, isn't it? So I'm going to give you a little idea of what life is like here in the Nordics, in Norway specifically, where I live, in the spring. And this year we have an early spring. Normally, at the beginning of April, we would be looking at snow, quite a lot of snow, I have to say. Some years it's gone on till May, and certainly very cold weather. But it started warming up weeks ago. We have had a couple of frosts, but I think we're maybe at the end of that. We don't have any snow, although we did have a sprinkle a few days ago, and it settled, but it wasn't enough to, justify getting the snow shovel out. It melted the following day. But because of this warm weather, the ground has warmed up and things are starting to grow. And all the things that would normally be happening at the end of April or the beginning of May are happening now, a month early. And it's lovely, I have to say. It's really nice. And people are behaving like they would later on in the spring. One of the first things that a lot of people do is a very simple thing. It's one of those simple joys that you can get out of everyday life. It's looking for the first spring flowers. And I'm not talking about the ones that grow in your garden, because we can plant those ourselves, can't we? Or we can bring them out from inside, or they're forced, so they come into flower earlier. I'm talking about wildflowers. And the first wild spring flowers that come out here are blue wood anemones. And as I'm sure you know, Norway is very heavily forested. And underneath this kind of mixed forest of pine and birch and beech, we have a lot of beech down here in this part of Norway, there are things like blueberries and lingonberries. They grow kind of high up on the hills, but a lot of wood anemones, and we get carpets and carpets of white wood anemones. You've probably seen some of my photos. I can't take enough photos of them because they're just everywhere. And we also get something that's a bit more unusual. We get some blue wood anemones, and they're a very distinctive blue. It depends whether they're growing in shade or more in the sun. But they're a kind of purplish blue, and they are the first things to come up, even before the leaves of the other plants and the other flowers. And they're very distinctive because you'll see them, in the forest, dotted about. And people like to take photos of them. Nobody picks them. They don't last very long if you bring them. Any wood anemones, they seem to die after about 24 hours. So it's pointless picking them. It's better to look at them when they're out. But people don't pick them. They take photos of them. And they share it on social media and with their friends and change their profile pictures to pictures of flowers. But for us, it's the first sign of spring. And you might be out having a spring hike like we do, and there'll be people clustered around what looks like a pile of dead leaves. But in amongst it will be some of these blue wood anemones, and they'll be taking photos and marking that first point of spring. Very simple, nothing special, nothing elaborate, no huge celebration, but something that brings everybody just a little bit of joy. You could do this yourself, couldn't you? You could go out and look for the first flowers. Might be a dandelion, but you have a really good look at a dandelion. They're beautiful. It's a chrysanthemum, a type of chrysanthemum, and they look really lovely. So that's one of the things that we like to do, and that's probably the first thing we like to do as well. But another thing a lot of people do is skiing. We might have no snow down here in the kind of lower levels, but up in the mountains there is still snow. And it's a last opportunity, really, these last few days of spring for people to go skiing, and particularly at Easter. Over the Easter holidays, the schools close, so they have maybe 10 days off. But we have what are called red days, which are public holidays. And offices, businesses are closed. Some of the shops are still open, restaurants and emergency services are still open, they don't close. But generally, the place closes down. So people like to go to their cabin, or their family cabin, or they rent a cabin, or it's a friend's, and they take their skis, and they turn off their phones. There's usually no TV, perhaps no electricity, and almost certainly no phone reception. So it's an opportunity to recharge, get away from that kind of buzz and those things that are pulling your attention all the time. Emails, you've got to reply to it now. You don't have to, by the way. This is your ticket not to reply to it. You don't have to. But emails, text messages, all those things that are pulling on our attention all the time, they're put away and people go out and they go skiing. And there'll be lots of people out and the weather will be beautiful. Get some vitamin D, get some sunshine on your skin after several months, 6 months of, low light and not feeling like, we've had enough sun. And it's an opportunity to do that. But a lot of these cabins are also summer cabins, which means they're not really the kind of cabin that you would go to for the winter. The water gets turned off, everything gets drained down, everything's closed up for the winter. And then Easter is an opportunity to go turn the water back on, clean up, open up, clear away any snow if there is any, have a general tidy up and make everything look beautiful for the summer. And you'll see people in the supermarkets, and especially in areas, where there are lots of cabins, like there are here where I live, a lot of summer cabins on the coast. And the supermarkets will be full of people with trolleys full of toilet rolls and cleaning products and sponges and that kind of thing, to get the cabin all looking lovely again. And that is the point for me when it feels like spring has well and truly arrived and we're looking forward now to summer, because people are opening up their cabins and getting out, and we're seeing a lot more tourists. Tidying up is another thing that people do in the spring. That's kind of in all ordinary everyday life, isn't it? I never really experienced that in England because where I live in the south, or lived in the southwest where I'm from, we don't really get much of a winter. There are still flowers. We have palm trees, yes. Some of them have dates on. My mum's palm trees have got dates on. I'm not sure you'd want to eat them though, they're very small. We have banana palms, and it's quite subtropical. So not really any snow, maybe centimetre of snow every 10 years, something like that. So I never really experienced that kind of opportunity to prepare the garden and the outside for the spring and the summer, because we could do that any time. But here, once the snow has melted and spring is well and truly on the way, and we don't think we're going to get any more, people start to get their pots out from their garages or the basement with their summer plants in, things that can't tolerate the cold, or they start to put flowers in pots. We clean up, we make everything look beautiful, and especially for the 17th of May. Takes a little bit of time to do this, you want your garden to look nice. The 17th of May is Norway's Constitution Day, which is a little bit like the 4th of July in America. It's quite a big thing. And we like our gardens to look beautiful because people will be taking photos, not necessarily of your garden, but your garden might be in the background. So you want everything to look pretty and photogenic and aesthetic. So we spend a little bit of time cutting our hedges, tidying up the trees, mowing the lawn, putting some plant pots on the porch or things on the terrace overhang. Doesn't matter if you've got an apartment or a big garden. We want to make it look nice. And it's a good opportunity actually to prepare it for the summer ahead as well. Because once we've had the 17th of May, then we're pretty much assured that the weather is going to be good, because June is usually a month of really nice weather. And we want to be able to spend it outside, and we don't necessarily want to be doing all those big clean-ups. So we do it early as we can. And then we can spend time planning some summer parties and spending more time outside, getting all the garden furniture out. That is the start of spring. Also, we see it on a bigger scale, this cleaning up and sprucing up of everywhere. Because over the winter there's been a lot of snow and ice, and the snow will melt a little bit and then it will refreeze into ice, and then we get more snow and the same thing. So you get this kind of packed ice, which can be an inch or even a couple of inches thick on the pavements. And it's slippery, very slippery. So the councils go around putting either salt, not very often I have to say, or grit on the pavements. And as the snow melts and the ice disappears, the grit stays. And it looks a mess. It messes up your shoes, and if you fall on it, it's horrible because you get it in your hands and on your knees and wherever. I've fallen on it quite a few times, I have to say. But they like to clean it up, particularly before the 17th of May, when everything needs to look beautiful for parades and celebrations. And the councils go around with a special tractor with a thing that gathers up the grit and it puts it into a trailer, and then they have to unload the trailer onto a lorry, which then has to take it somewhere. Don't ask me where. I hope they recycle it, but it's grit, so it's part of the environment. But everything is then cleaned up and it's lovely, and this has happened much earlier this year because our spring is so much earlier. Normally it would be the week before the 17th of May, but they've done it already, beginning of April. I love it. It means that the kids can get out cycling again without that worry of, are they going to fall over and graze something. And we can get out and the pavements are all nice and smooth and clean, and there's no grit about anymore. And it just makes everything look beautiful. We're also noticing a lot more fresh fruit and vegetables in the shops and on farm stands as well. It's not quite time for strawberries yet in Norway. That's quite late actually compared to other countries. It's usually about the end of June, beginning of July, and it's a very short season as well, of just a few weeks. So if you wanted to go strawberry picking, if you were in Norway, you really have to watch what's going on because it changes from year to year. But there's a bit of a fever about that, I have to say. It's a very funny one. As soon as the first strawberries are in the fields and we can go and pick them, everybody wants to do it that first day. It can be quite chaotic. But they appear on stands, and we're seeing strawberries and things like that in the shops as well. And they're not coming quite so far. They're not coming from Morocco or Tunisia, which is a very long way for fruit to come to us. They're coming from closer in Europe, like Spain or even France. And perhaps Italy, if we're lucky too. And it doesn't feel quite so bad to be buying them. I try to avoid buying things that are not in season, but sometimes you just have a craving, don't you, for something that's a little bit different. And after 6 months of apples and oranges and things that keep very well, it's nice to be able to have something that is a little bit different and fresh. And I enjoy seeing that. Things like the purple sprouting broccoli and the new lettuces and a little bit of asparagus and a lot of things that are coming from Norway that we can enjoy. So I hope that's given you a little taste of what everyday life is like here in the Nordics in the spring. It's simple, it's nothing special, but it brings us those little moments of joy, those simple pleasures that make life so special. And I will see you in the next episode. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the Living a Nordic Life newsletters so you can get an email when I release a new episode. It's a quick and easy way to keep up with all things Nordic living. Please visit livinganordiclife.com. You can listen to Living a Nordic Life on lots of podcast apps, including Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, and plenty of others. If you've enjoyed the Living a Nordic Life podcast, why not leave me a rating? So that's the end of Living a Nordic Life for today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.